Handling objections with confidence. I would almost rather handle rejection over objection. At least with rejection, it's a no or not interested. Objections are tricky and can be hard to navigate. However, handling objections in sales is absolutely a necessary evil. And if we want to continue pursuing an opportunity and remain in the running, it's how we handle those objections that can make or break our chances. So here's what I believe. The process the prospect follows is learned. The process they follow, the questions they ask, are things that they've been taught or experienced themselves. In their defense, there is so much noise and saturation in the marketplace, it's really hard for them to make heads and tails as to why and how we are different versus someone else who's out there doing what we do. So when we all say the same things, when we all position our value and capabilities the same way, it becomes almost impossible for the prospect to differentiate. It's our job to re-educate them. We have to stay firm and communicate our process, what steps we need to take, and how things are going to unfold while working with us. And after re-educating them, if there are still objections to the process, if they still say, no, just send me the information, then that's probably a good sign that they are not committed, considering, or willing to make a change or buy from you. I've always thought of objections as obstacles, and you have to eliminate the obstacle before encountering them. So if you're getting to the point of presenting your solution when you first hear, I need to meet with ... that's an obstacle you should have identified and hopefully eliminated before this moment in time. But doing that and handling objections gracefully and confidently requires preparation and practice. And that's more preparation practice than just the drive out to their office or the 5 minutes before you hop onto Zoom. There are hundreds of objections that you have heard and will hear in the future, but we do not have that kind of time today. So here are the top 3 most common obstacles and objections salespeople hear and ways you may consider overcoming them in the future. Let's take, I need to think about it. Here's my response. Sure, I would probably do the same thing, but let me ask you, when you say you need to think it over, I find that there's typically 3 reasons. 1, you need to think this over, and I get it, it's a big decision. Number 2, you have questions or concerns that I haven't addressed, and we need to figure that out. Or 3, it may not be the case here, but sometimes when someone tells me that they need to think it over, it's because it's the nicest way that they know how to tell me no. I'm fine with any of those options, but I'm curious, which one is it for you? Now, if they say, no, really, I just want to sit down and think this over. No problem. Out of curiosity, how much time do you feel like you need to think it over? And we get a time frame. Great. Why don't I send you a calendar invite for blank at blank for us to follow up and see where you've landed? What do you think about that? Take the next objection. Another group offered me a lower price. Great. When you told them that you've decided to move forward with or buy from them, what did they say? Now, assuming they didn't say that, why not? I'm curious what else is important to you in your decision-making process other than price. In the final scenario, I don't have time to talk. Can you just send me some information? I could, but in my business, I don't make a habit out of sending information just to send information. I typically find the information that you want is worthy of a conversation. So why don't we find a time to talk? I'll ask you a series of questions. You can ask me any that you have. And after that conversation, I think we'll both be in a better position to identify if it makes sense to continue forward. What do you think about that? You'll notice that all of the responses from the salesperson work to gain clarity and identify why or what. When I talk about eliminating obstacles, that's what I'm talking about. And only when you get a clear definition or commitment from your prospect do you move to the next step. Remember, 93% of how you are perceived is nonverbal communication. So yes, words can be important. You don't want to be a jerk. You don't want to be inappropriate. But how you deliver a message, how you respond to objections will say far more about your confidence and professionalism than any nicely curated value proposition. So everything you heard me practice needs to be delivered in a manner in which it will be well received. If you take what I have just laid out and you shoot it from the hip without the right cadence, tone, inflection, it's not going to land the way that it needs to. Taking us back to why practice is so critical for performance. So spend the time identifying the objections you hear or want to be ready to handle. Prepare your response, practice your delivery, and stick to your process. It won't be easy at first, I know, but I believe the more that you do it, the easier and more natural it will become.